Hey there, fantastic beasties. It's November 1st. Welcome to Scorpio season. The veil is still thin. It super feels like that's true. Hope you all had a wonderful celebration of Samhain, Halloween, however you chose to celebrate yesterday. And Happy New Year is kind of how I'm thinking of today. So today's spread was another hard one. My grandmother, who I'm still here in California to be with, is in hospice care in her home. It's hard. Things are pretty uncertain. And the spread today definitely spoke to some of that situation. We've got the 10 of Wands, obstacle 9 of Cups, and finally, advice, the Fool, whom I love. So 10 of Wands, it often shows up to call me out about me. I think today it's telling me something about my grandmother, actually. The 10 of Wands indicates that you're carrying a big burden. You're having trouble asking for help to the degree that you probably need to. And just something is happening in a really hard way. I think about how much trouble Grandma's having breathing right now when I think of that. I think of the fact that it's very literally difficult for her to ask for help right now because she can't really speak. I thought it was interesting. One of the spells that Michelle T recommends in Modern Tarot to get through a difficult, burdensome 10 of Wands moment is to write either no or help on a candle and burn that candle. And when Grandma was in the hospital earlier this week, one of the only words she was able to say was the word help if she was in pain because of something that needed to be done medically. She couldn't say very much, but help was really clear. So that's why I think she's showing up here in the 10 of Wands. She's in a difficult moment where just literally asking for help is hard. She also is asking for help in the ways that she still can. I think there's something hopeful in that. The 9 of Cups, I think, in this particular spread, this is the obstacle slot for these daily 3-card pulls that I do. I think in this case, the 9 of Cups, which also showed up earlier this week, is as a sign that I needed to take a moment to feel some gratitude for what's in my cup. I think when it shows up here, it's not so much an obstacle as a truth that's difficult to see in this 10 of Wands moment. The 9 of Cups, I talked about this a little earlier this week too. It's one of the cards that Michelle too, and probably other people too, I'm not totally clear on this, refers to as a wish card. It's a sign that something has paid off in a big way and there's cause for gratitude and celebration. And in a strange way, watching Grandma reach the end of her life here with us is difficult and sad, for sure. At at the same time, she has what most of us want at the end of our time on this planet. She's in her own home. She has 24-hour medical care. She also has family who love her so much, present around her, making sure that her favorite musicals are being played in her room, and that she hears us saying, "I love you." And there was a moment yesterday when all except one of her grandchildren, who the one who wasn't there was still at work, but almost all of us were there in her house at the same time, just like we were when we were kids, and standing around her bed and talking to her and just sharing how much we love her with her and with each other. And it was sad. It was sad, and I couldn't help thinking about how full of life any space Grandma occupies has always been, and how so many memories of that house are 4th of July parties and an annual Christmas sing-along party, and just anyone was always welcome, and it was a space just full of music and joy and so many happy, comfortable people. And she's back in that space where she got to create that home, not only for herself, but for anyone who ever walked through that door. And we're there with her. So even though this is really hard, and it's hard for her to ask for help, but also we're all here, and that's hard to see, but important. The Fool, I think, is more here for me than these other two were. These feel like they were here for my grandmother and for my family, and I'm glad they came through. The Fool is one that I was happy to see this morning, because before I started making these videos, right after I had resigned from my job and moved into this period of uncertainty and what's next, and I'm scared, but I'm kind of excited to have choices in front of me, I drew the Fool with either the next day or within that week. And when I had been trying to figure out what to do about my former job, the cards had let me know that I was in a tower period, and I'd been carrying a tower pouch with me, and getting ready for something to come falling down. I thought it was going to be inside me. I thought it was going to be my own breaking point in how I dealt with work, and I was going to end up learning a new way to get everything done and be super on top of it, and I was going to conquer everything that was hard about this job by conquering the things in me that I didn't like. And it turned out what had to come toppling down was the notion that I am always the problem, and that job was right for me, because it wasn't. And it was the Monday, actually. It was the first day of my first work week of unemployment that the Fool came up. And so I was like, okay, I've moved from a tower period. I pulled the death card last week. That was the one that I pulled the day after I resigned. The tower came down. That old life died, and I entered a new Fool cycle, and I've been carrying a Fool pouch with me. It's near me right now, but I've been carrying it with me And when I discovered I needed to be here in California, I actually didn't bring my Fool pouch with me. I brought some other things that I like to keep close around my neck, some other magic I thought I might need this week. But I wasn't sure if I needed Fool magic, and I thought that maybe, given that this big, scary, hard curveball had come this week, I thought that maybe that meant that my Fool period was getting cut short, and I would need to accept that and look at this period of uncertainty and figuring out my next step a little differently, because it was going to involve some grief, some hard stuff, stuff that less speaks to the beginning of a journey into the unknown, that you're feeling excited and optimistic about. And just this morning, I was having those thoughts again, like maybe this isn't my full time anymore. And then the Fool showed up again and was like, actually, think about it again, thought about it again, reread Modern Tarot's take on the Fool. And a few things that stood out to me is that Michelle T's advice when you draw the Fool, when you're in a Fool time, a time of foolishness, is to hurl yourself into the great unknown. And oh boy, that is definitely part of what I'm doing by being here. The Fool also conveys that you probably have an instinctive sense that the choice you're making is the right one. And I know I've made the right choice by being here this week, by not buying a return ticket, by using this, one of the things I'm doing with this uncertain time is taking off to my home city and being here for I don't know how long, and being grateful that that's okay to do since my new job hasn't started yet, and taking days as they come. And I was grateful for this reminder that one of the things, really the thing happening at this moment in this Fool period is my grandmother struggling. But that doesn't mean that I need to buck up and turn into a person at a different phase, of a person in a different place. I can still be in my Fool period, but even in all my foolishness, I can be right here where I need to be. And tomorrow, I'll be wherever I need to be, and come Monday, wherever the hell it is, I will still be where I need to be, finding out what's next. I love you all so much. Thank you for being here, and I will see you tomorrow.